In the Netherlands last week, it seemed like life was pretty much back to normal. After a tough winter, the government had allowed restaurants, cafes and museums to open again in early June, and people to have more visitors at home. Then on June 26 came the big moment of freedom everyone had been waiting for, when almost all the remaining lockdown rules were lifted. Face masks, never very popular with the Dutch, and only made compulsory in indoor spaces in December, were largely ditched, except for on public transport. Limits on customer numbers at restaurants and bars were lifted, and in cities like Amsterdam and The Hague the outside terraces quickly filled with drinkers and diners. Around where I live, in the countryside near Gouda, gardens filled with people happily having family barbecues and discussing their foreign holiday plans. The country was, Prime Minister Mark Rutte said, on our way to a beautiful summer. Do you think the UK is opening up too fast? Or are you bursting to get back to normal life? Have your say in the comments below. Unfortunately, things haven't quite turned out that way. 2.5 weeks after everything in the Netherlands reopened, coronavirus infections have exploded here, from about 500 a day in late June to around 10,000 a day last weekend. A few weeks ago about 1 in 40 coronavirus tests came back positive. It's now up to 1 in 7. Schemes set up to test people before they attended events have been filled with leaks and loopholes, and there have been thousands of infections at nightclubs, music events and in bars. The Delta variant is now ripping through the younger population. According to government statistics, a Dutch person in their 20s is now up to 20 times more likely to catch the virus than they were a few weeks ago. It's gone completely crazy, one friend said to me yesterday. The good news is that thankfully, as in many other countries, rising infections haven't yet translated into many more hospital admissions or deaths. Back in January, the Dutch were regularly suffering more than 100 deaths per day, a lot for a relatively small country. Now, though, despite the soaring infection rate, the daily death toll seems stuck at only 1 or 2, still too many, but nowhere near enough to justify a heavy lockdown. For now at least, the vaccines are working. And despite the rapid growth, infections here remain lower than in the UK. However, the Dutch authorities have been shocked by the speed at which the Delta variant is spreading, and the big fear is that in another couple of weeks hospitals could be full again. It also doesn't help that the Netherlands is slightly less protected by vaccines than the UK is. Only about 40% of Dutch people are now fully vaccinated, compared to more than half of Brits. With some forecasts looking dire, the government has been forced to make a hasty U-turn. On Friday, the PM was still defending the decision to reopen, but by Monday he was admitting mistakes have clearly been made and saying infections were rising much faster than expected. What we thought was possible turned out not to be, he admitted. Some restrictions have already been reimposed again, including forcing nightclubs to shut, making bars close earlier and reintroducing tougher distancing rules. Compared to many other countries, the Dutch lockdown remains unusually light. People don't wear masks in supermarkets, for example. But the country is rattled, and many of the summer holidays and events we'd been looking forward to are now in serious doubt. Unless the numbers go down, further restrictions look likely. No one quite knows what'll happen next, but one lesson is clear: if you're thinking of going Dutch, be careful.
Coates is the author of Why the Dutch Are Different and the Rhine, at Bing Coates 1.